This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It Just Makes Sense.
Football is back, and so are we, boys. Listen, this podcast is not about being right. It's about being entertaining, and sometimes right. The man is a bit of a master manipulator.
Yes. What are you looking for? You know what? I like him now. And if you're going to get in a fight with Jason Kelce, the chances of you winning, you should be honest with yourself. The chances of you winning against Jason Kelce is pretty goddamn slim. You deserve to get punched in the face. You know exactly what you're doing. You know what you said. So to play victim on the other side of it is bullshit.
Yeah.
We're back. Clear eyes.
Full heart!
Can't lose.
Play like a champion! Listen, if only someone called our podcast garbage, then the whole nation would be talking about it. Welcome to It Just Makes Sense, boys. Happy election week.
We are not talking politics on this. We're not doing it.
Yeah. But you know what's not garbage is this this nice little jacket that I got myself in tonight. You like that? For my 36th birthday, I got myself a nice little jaqueta from Juan Miguel and Ashley, so thank you.
Yeah, we figured we'd change it up. We always get alcohol or which is starting to look like a problem, or like some sort of a novelty prank gift.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get something real.
Yeah. And then he goes, well, you know, this is great for when I'm out smoking. You're going to be warm now. And it'd be like, oh.
It's a gift for myself. It's a twofer.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
I got the gift.
I loved
to enable your bad habit.
I loved that the flag was green. That was so confusing.
We have literally right behind this camera the Monday Night Football game because of said thing that we just talked about there. We're doing the podcast a little earlier than we do this week, and so we're down in the garage. The TV that we use is one that has just the yellow is neon green. It's not a good TV.
It's been ruined,
but it's a garage
It's been
TV.
ruined by cartoons.
It has been ruined by Daniel Tiger.
So when the refs throw a flag, it's bright green.
And when you watch an Oregon game,
yeah, you don't know what the fuck they're
or a Laker game,
or the Warriors.
Yeah, it's
just
not
neon green.
Neon green.
Todd Bowles is white.
How'd that happen? So
it's Halloween still.
Yeah. So you guys got a good Halloween. This guy over here, homeowner. Now you got yourself a bunch of trick-or-treaters this year.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. We got a nice handful of trick-or-treaters, probably like 30, 40 of them.
Amazing.
Did you give away quality candy?
Quality
candy.
Yeah, we gave away Reese's, Twix.
None of that generic shit.
No. Zots.
Zots or dots?
Zots.
What's a Zot?
You've never had a Zot?
Have you had a Zot?
I don't know what that is.
What's a
I don't
Zot?
eat candy.
So it's a hard candy that when you crunch into it, it's like fizzy.
Oh,
it fizzes in your mouth.
Got you.
And
so
then
it seems like it's like drugs, like arsenic or something.
Have you had arsenic?
Well, no, I'm alive. So
okay.
Okay.
No. From my research, it's not like arsenic.
Snickers, Kit Kat, you gave all the good shit?
No, just Reese's, Twix, and Take 5, and Zots.
Okay.
Take 5s, I feel like, have become a bit more of a staple
it's
candy.
The greatest candy bar ever to be made.
Wow. What a statement.
That's a bold statement.
It's very bold.
I stand by it.
You like a good pretzel in your candy bar?
It has all the good things that you want. It has pretzel, peanut butter, caramel, all wrapped in chocolate.
That's hard to argue with.
Thank you.
However, have you ever had dark chocolate peanut butter cups from Trader Joe's?
That's your best defense to that?
Yes, because it is literally the greatest. It's better than just like a normal Reese's peanut butter cup. It almost ruins regular Reese's peanut butter cups, and why I can't get on board with this Take 5 argument here.
you guys have zero argument because there's no other candy bar that turns a diva into a nice person than Snickers.
Then yeah, sure.
Yeah, Snickers is good.
Snickers is number one.
I just don't love peanuts.
But you just described Take 5 the same as
That
Snickers,
has-
but with pretzels.
Does Snickers have peanuts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure does. Yeah.
Yeah, Take 5 does not have peanuts.
Oh. Okay.
Has peanut butter.
Yeah.
Lame.
What was one that candy that you were obsessed with though as a kid that you could maybe take it or leave it now?
100 grand.
100 grand?
Yeah.
I actually kind of like a good 100.
I still like
yeah.
it.
But it was like.
But when I was young,
Yeah.
I had a phase like with caramel where I was obsessed with caramel.
Not caramel.
Definitely not.
Do you have one?
That you can take it or leave it now?
No,
so
no,
you
no.
don't hate it, but
No.
you can go without it.
The question was, and I'll still let you answer that, was like, what were you obsessed with as a kid that maybe you not take it or leave it, but you don't have that same obsession?
Kit Kats.
Kit Kats, you were super down.
I
with
still
them then.
like Kit Kats, but I used to love Kit Kats, but it wouldn't even be in my like top 3 right now.
that.
I would go Snickers, Reese's, and M&M's.
Okay. Kit Kats for a while tried to have a marketing campaign around getting a Kit Kat as like your breakfast item rather than a pastry or anything. It's like drink your coffee with a Kit Kat. I'm like, that's insane. You can't have a candy bar for breakfast.
I mean, that sounds delicious.
And guess what? It is so good.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I
if
haven't had a full candy bar, but I have had
I don't know
like
if this
the little
ties
little
into your
guys.
question, but of like a nostalgic candy, Nestle Crunch.
The Crunch, yeah,
Crunch.
for sure.
Now that it's
The
not
Crunch
Nestle
bar
anymore.
or
The-
the Bunch of Crunch?
No,
Bunch
the
of Crunch, at
bar.
at a movie theater. Bunch of Crunch.
The Rice
I fuck
Krispies
with a
Crunch
Bunch
bar.
of Crunch.
Yeah.
No, the Crunch bar was the shit.
Yeah. Or even just like that, like the metal wrapped candies that happen to also have those like little crispy bits in it.
Crackle.
Crackle or something similar, right? It was like kind of unexpected, very shitty, but like so good.
The
Yeah,
one
it's
that
the Hershey's version.
Sure.
I also
Yeah,
love
yeah.
Hershey's. The one that I love that I didn't get to have all the time is the Hawaiian box. The Hawaiian Host,
Oh, like the macadamia
the macadamia
nut?
nut,
Oh,
chocolate
yeah.
covered
Oh, yeah.
You
macadamia
getting
nut.
full size ones of those in your trick or treating bags?
No,
Okay.
I would never give those away.
Yeah.
I was talking to Jera about a candy. I'm wondering if you guys are familiar with it because she isn't. Fruities.
No, I have no idea what that is.
Nope.
I know what a
Really?
mamba is. Is
So
that
it's
the same?
similar. It's basically like you take those Tootsie Roll fruit version,
Uh-huh.
you make them smaller,
Oh.
but way more flavor, like way better.
I think I know what you're talking about. I didn't know that's what they were called. But yeah, they look like Tootsie Rolls, and they're just like in like 1,000 different colors.
Yes.
Yes. So when I was growing up, we went to this restaurant out in Maclay, and maybe even Jara knows about this because she and I grew up down there. There's this little like country store. There's the Maclay Inn, and then there's the
You meaning to say McKay?
no Maclay.
Maclay,
Yeah,
okay.
no, not McKay. Maclay store had like all these penny candies, is what we called it, and they were just like in these little, buckets, and you would just grab handfuls of all
Yeah,
of these different
that fits.
colors. Yeah, so I
That
think
fits
that's
for
exactly
sure.
what that was. I never knew what they were called.
Because I was saying, like, is it better to like get one or two like fun size Twix, Kit Kat, whatever,
Yeah.
or would it be better to come to a door and I'm grabbing a handful
Of those little guys?
fruities and
Yeah.
dropping, a dozen into your bag?
It's
What's
not
more exciting?
Right, because like one of the biggest issues we ran into with our son Brody, 5 years old, this was the year that he loved trick-or-treating more than he's ever loved trick-or-treating. He goes in there and he wants to take as much as he can, right? It's a supermarket sweep of candy at that moment. And so we just go like, no, like, and we can't really hear because we're trying to give him the autonomy to go up. So then he's like, no, they said I could take 3. However, on the other side, if they just go come in and get a handful of something, that's like a jackpot, right? Like
Yeah.
you hit the jackpot on the penny slots.
I think to answer your question, I think it depends on the age of the kid.
Yeah.
Because a younger kid cares more about the trick-or-treating rather than the type of candy they're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about an older kid, they're like, oh, I want to get the Kit Kats or the Snickers, and I don't
Full
really
size.
care about a bunch of shit I don't want and getting a handful of it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm curious, when you have kids stopping by, do you give the candy or do you let them grab?
So I gave the candy for that specific reason
Yeah.
because I knew that we had a limited amount. So I personally, I would grab like two big candies and a small one and hand it over.
And I've been on the side where I've let people grab versus giving it, and I would say that I feel a little bit better about being able to indicate how much someone gets, especially if it's like, kids who are just, coming in for, we all know those types of kids who just come
Yeah.
in and try and take the whole freaking lot of everything.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't make you feel as good. So
Yeah,
you
and
know.
then you come away from that interaction being like, that kid's a shitbag.
Exactly. And then that takes away from the reason why you're
Yeah.
doing it, right? So
Exactly.
it ruins it a little bit. And let's see. So since you guys asked, the candy that I absolutely loved as a kid, and the reason why I kind of asked this question is because Zots, I loved as a kid, but could not as much now. Great play, tie game. Dots, like the little,
Yep.
and
Not
then those
Dippin' Dots?
no, not Dippin' Dots, but they were like chewy
Yeah, they're
dots.
gumdrops.
They're gumdrops that just absolutely could not stay out of your teeth.
Yeah,
They
delicious.
were incredible. So good.
Great movie theater candy.
Definitely. Although you brought up Bunch of Crunch. I was addicted to Bunch of Crunch.
Bunch of
the-
Crunch
the-
is
Just
great.
at theaters.
The environment matters, definitely, because in movie theaters, it's Bunch of Crunch and Dippin' Dots. Mm-hmm. I know it's ice cream, but like those
I've
are my
never
two.
been to a theater that offers Dippin' Dots.
Seriously?
I have.
That's the only time I ever get Dippin' Dots. Outside of the fair where I've gotten it once, I only get Dippin' Dots at the movie theater.
To me, Dippin' Dots are like stadiums and fairs.
Yeah, the only time I've gotten Dippin' Dots once at the fair, but I only get it at the movie theater.
Yeah. This is going to be a situation we have to monitor as we are recording. Patrick Mahomes just threw a touchdown to tie the game, or to get it to within a point. He plants his foot. Check this out here. He plants right here, and his left knee looks like some kind of a buckle or something like that. He's being helped off the field.
That's not good.
He put no weight on it. He looks like he's walking now, but that very much looked like that very much, and not to speculate, those are the types of like hyperextension, ACL, non-contact things that you hate to start to wonder about. And now you've got Carson Wentz warming
That's
up.
what I was going to say. I couldn't be more excited for Carson Wentz to get a few plays in.
Oh, no, he's walking.
He's walking, which is good. So maybe just a hyperextension there for good old Patrick Mahomes.
Get that injection, go back in.
Yeah. But going into the blue medical tent, I know, riveting, because this isn't going to be live, so we're already going to know exactly. But the moment it happens, you get to talk about it. So, but anyway, so let's see. This past weekend, again, my birthday weekend, we also had Halloween that we were talking about there. We had the Halloween party on Saturday, which I want to be like, hey, I thought you guys, was it a bit of a cop out on your guys' outfit a little bit?
What do you mean?
You take your mask off, and then you just put like which you brought a real axe to the party, which was a little bit alarming. But then you're just kind of in street clothes at that point.
No, I'm not taking that.
I mean,
Because number one,
you didn't wear it all night. I Wreck-It Ralphed my way all night until...
the original plan, I have two rebuttals to that argument. The original plan would have been dressing like you for your birthday.
Yes, which
meant I would have been in basketball shorts and a hoodie and sandals and socks. That's really dressing down. Number two, if anyone goes out for Halloween, like goes all out, it's always been fucking me.
It is always you.
So if I'm taking a year off,
All right.
By wearing a mask and a wig and a prop knife, that's fine.
But you could have taken the year off if you all dressed up as me, which, by the way, I found out after the fact. I wasn't sure whether or not to be flattered that you wanted to do that or, like, mad that you decided to go against it. I don't know. I had mixed emotions all around.
Well, not to point fingers, but I was not the one who decided to go against it.
All right. Was it him?
It wasn't just me. I'm pretty sure me, Jara, and Ashley were all like,
This is
let's
dumb.
let's not
Yeah.
just because if you're giving a shit for like really not for dressing down, that's another level of dressing down. Like we would have been in sweats.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I know the girls didn't want to do that. I was like, let's try just a little bit above that. I know he was all for it, but
Yeah,
I was
because
just-
I'm on the opposite end here. I'm all about dressing down for Halloween. Be as comfortable and as normal as possible.
Which you would have been me. Yeah.
So,
Sounded like a great situation for you.
yeah, it was a great middle ground.
Sure.
I still put on real clothes.
That's true.
But I took a year off.
I wore a
from that.
tie, Peter.
You did wear a tie, and you know what? We met up for a drink. I don't know if you were aware of this. I met up with Braxton and Jara for a drink before the Halloween party. Show up to a bar neither of us had been to or whatever. I'm walking in my outfit, which we'll go ahead and put up on the screen here. I looked like that walking into a place in Lake Oswego. You couldn't even look at me in the face.
It was tough.
I had
If you guys
fake
met up for a
eyebrows
drink,
on.
How did you show up at different times?
I had to take Brody to, yeah. I had to take my son to go hang out with his cousins. So that's well. That is how. Patrick
It's a fun
Mahomes
party,
walking
though.
on the sidelines and he's running around. We'll see. Guy never gets hurt. It was a great party. Thanks to Austin Naoka for hosting, and but no thank you to Juan Magoo for ruining my birthday cake. This asshole.
Were you not there?
Oh, you know what? I mean, you saw the aftermath.
Did
you guys
I?
already leave?
He was in the bathroom. Do you not have any context as to what happened?
I know you smashed his face.
With a cake.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're singing happy birthday. The only thing I kept on, who's the guy? Is it Mark?
Yeah.
Mark. I don't know Mark that well.
You don't.
I don't. And so, like, I kind of kept on looking over at Mark because I'm just like, you're singing happy birthday to me. You don't know me. Is this weird for you? And that's just like all I could think about during the happy birthday thing. Is like, happy birthday. I don't know this fucker. Happy birthday. And then, like, my wife brings a cake. We don't have the candles. We forget the candles, which was fine. And so I don't know if it was you who said take a bite of it. I don't know if this was premeditated. Lindsay, my wife, takes the cake up to my face. And next thing I know, I cannot see or breathe because I have been smushed with chocolate cake.
It's a classic move.
Yeah.
I respect
If
it.
anything, you should be thanking me because you now have a memory of getting a cake smashed in your
I've
face.
You'll never forget.
You went through
Never had a
you went
cake
through
smashed in my face.
36 years of life without having that happen to you. I've had that shit happen fucking 100 times. And we've been witness
in
to
all 100 of your birthdays.
also we've been witness to that happening like a more intense way. Like you remember Bryant at the golf course?
Oh, yeah.
His buddy ran up with a pie or a
Yeah.
cake and fucking smacked him.
Oh my
it was like a
gosh.
full on like all the way cocked back and smacked him right in
Damn.
the fucking face with it.
got a cake concussion.
Yeah, you just had a little taste.
That is true. We've got the photos. If you're watching us on the YouTube, so I could like literally only like smell sugar for the next 20 minutes after that. So I lost one of my fake eyebrows.
20 minutes?
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, you can
Wow.
smell sugar.
Yeah.
What a terrible thing
You're
to smell.
welcome.
And you're lucky, Juan Magoo, that I did
Technically,
not.
Lindsay's an accomplice. If you're questioning if this was premeditated,
She-
it wasn't.
She had no idea.
It wasn't.
No.
But she was the one who said, take a bite and really put it up close, which set me up.
Yeah, you
teed
can't-
me up perfectly. Because I
How
didn't.
can you resist?
None of this was planned. So when she's like, take a bite, Peter, I was
Yeah.
like, what else am I going to do? Gotta fucking Push it
What
up.
else? It was like you were obligated to do
I
it.
had to.
Well, thankfully, his birthday's coming up.
That's true.
Return the favor.
Can't have cake.
Can't have
Ice cream cake?
Can't have sweets, bro.
Pie?
You're gonna have to
beef
smack
cake?
me with a beef rib. Which the bone
I'm
is
gonna
really gonna
bitch
blind
slap
me.
you with a freaking tomahawk, a freaking beef rib. I am trying to find the video here, as we have all seen it by now. I should have done what Jason Kelce did to that one Penn State fan this past, or Ohio State fan this past. Who was it? It was a Penn State fan.
Penn State.
Rolls up, and, you know, when you're a celebrity in the public eye, you have people who are just antagonizing you all the way. And then guy took it to that level. He talked about his brother, and he talked about Taylor Swift, and that was enough for Jason Kelce to take that guy's phone out of his hand and slam it to the
You
ground.
called Travis a beep.
Yeah,
Say it.
a hard F.
Beep.
Called him the hard F. And then he says,
A Frankfurter?
Yeah, and he said, "Who's the Frankfurter now?" Oh, damn.
Got him.
And then, you know, the guy comes like, "Oh, gosh, this is what happens." I mean, it's this thing. It's like you take it from, you know, online. You try to say it to this guy's face, and then you get outraged that the guy did something about it.
It's a classic case of you antagonize someone, and then they respond, and then you play victim.
Yeah.
Because that's the world that we live in, is like you have in-person keyboard warriors now that are going to say shit to you, but then if you respond the way that they just want to be able to say whatever they want without any consequences.
Yeah, everyone just trolling
And
you
if-
has their camera in
and
your face.
Everyone's saying, like, that's destruction of property, that's assault, whatever it is. I'm like, the guy should be thankful that he didn't get punched in the face, because that's what he deserved.
Yeah.
Like, I would beat the shit out of you, or at least fucking swing. But he just broke your phone. You should be thanking him.
And he did it, which is also with almost without breaking a stride. He had a beer in the hand while also holding, like, carrying a 12-pack, turns around, and then grabs a phone, slams it on the ground. It was great.
That's a professional athlete.
Not
for
only
ya.
that, but Jason Kelce, the guy pushed Jason Kelce too, right? Like, in that moment, I think that
That's
Jason
assault.
showed a tremendous amount of restraint, and I don't necessarily think, and I know that he apologized on Monday Night Countdown ahead of the Monday Night Football game. I'm not going to play it. It's a minute long. He just basically, like, I chose hate with hate, and I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to live by the golden rule, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, honestly, like, this guy doesn't, I'm sure that he felt obligated to apologize. He should have done it on this podcast to get the views there. But
That's
Yeah.
the part I hate, is when you're in the corporate world, when you're on ESPN or Fox or whatever, you have to apologize. I don't think he should apologize for anything.
yeah.
I think the guy barely got what he deserved. I think he should have gotten more. I fucking hate people that play victim.
Yeah.
That guy should have gotten his ass beat.
He
Fuck
definitely
that guy.
deserved it.
Let's have him as a guest so we could waterboard him.
Yeah. Have you
At
guys
least poop on him.
You've seen the guy
Might like it.
who that happened to? I mean, he just looks exactly like the type of guy you would have expected to do that. So,
Probably has Joe Paterno as his background on his fucking Facebook page. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
No Diddy, bro.
I suppose that definitely takes us to our next thing, which is sports. Penn State falls to Ohio State. I owe another $20 to Juan Miguel. And when it came down to it, no matter who lost that game, the coach was just going to get absolutely eviscerated for it.
Yeah.
James Franklin can't win the big game. Ryan Day's kind of like in the same boat a little bit, and that's just kind
The
of
Charles
what
Barkley
happened.
effect. People are going to hate you no matter what.
No matter what.
There's nothing you can do.
So, and James Franklin was also in the same situation too, where he heard a fan say stuff. He goes up and like acknowledges the fan, and he goes, "Tell me your name. What's your name?" And the guy it's like, well, if you're gonna say all this shit, at least like be man enough to tell me what your name is. And the guy just kind of like,
People like to talk privilege,
Walks
but
off.
it's so one-sided. It's like, these people are paying your salary. They're buying the tickets. But it doesn't mean they get to say or do whatever the fuck they want.
Right.
Because you can separate
without consequence
$1 million athletes and be like, you have to show up for your job. You have to do your job, and you have to ignore everything. But as people, if anyone says anything about your family, your kids, your wife, or anything like that, you think you're just going to be able to fucking turn around and be like, oh, whatever.
Right.
I got to be able to take this because I get paid $20 million a year. No, fuck that. People don't get to say whatever they fucking want.
Agreed.
And, you know, unless you're willing to stand there and have the conversation, put your name to it, and to man up to it, right? And too often, I mean, like, we've seen this within the, you know, a bunch of athletes have talked about it recently, and it's talking about, like, the humanity, like, we are human beings. You know, Russell Westbrook has famously gotten into it with fans as well. He's always very aggressive about it.
The sad part
we're
is
humans too.
It's everything we used to do as kids. Like, no one's immune from it. Like, we all used to do it as kids. You would, like, antagonize someone, and then you turn around and be like, I didn't do it. You know, like, we all used to do it as kids.
Yeah.
But now grown fucking men are doing it.
Yeah.
And grown men and women. Remember that lady that was, like, doing this crybaby thing to LeBron, and then he turns around and she's like,
right.
Like, grown adults are fucking doing this.
Yeah.
Like, what's the excuse for that?
Yeah. And that you can do that in a vacuum where they can't say or do anything back.
Yeah, because you're paying the athlete's salary with your $22 ticket.
Yeah, and forgive him if he says, get that person out. I don't want them here. How do you guys feel about that? About getting people kicked out of games?
Yeah, I fucking hate people.
Yeah, I agree. Get them the fuck out of there.
Get them out.
Get him out.
You don't get to say, like, if you... I know that he didn't go through this recently, and he's not what we're talking about, but if you cannot stand the James family for some reason, but you say,
LeBron,
I hope Bronny dies in a car accident.
Oh, yeah. No, it's fucked.
But LeBron gets all the hate because he's spoiled, and he's like, get that person out. I wouldn't want to just get that person out. I'd want to slash their fucking tires. I'd want to do more to that person.
It's kind of the same concept on obviously a much lesser level, but like going to a comedy show. If you're going to heckle and that's, you know, the comedian doesn't do, you know, crowd work or whatever, then you're going to get yourself fucking booted. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
You can't argue, oh, well, I paid for this ticket. It's like, no, this isn't a place for you to come and get your 15 minutes to just, you know, say whatever you want.
Right.
That's not how this works.
Yeah, and if you're ready to be in that position and you want to come at someone, come at them right. And then and be prepared for the possibility that this person is smarter, wittier, funnier, has more experience than you in this very situation.
Just overall more talented in every way.
In every way. You are after all, you're the one paying them.
You are the peon in this
That's
situation.
what Shannon Sharp said when him and Ocho Cinco were talking about the Jason Kelce thing. It was like, the social media generation, this world that we currently live in, this society, and I think this was from like a Mike Tyson quote. It was like, social media has created people that think they can say whatever they want without getting punched in the face. And that's kind of what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's like, you deserve to get punched in the face, but instead he fucked up your $700 iPhone. You should be thankful for that.
Right.
$1,200.
Yeah,
it's easier to get an iPhone than
new.
to get good insurance to fix your face. And if you're going to get in a fight with Jason Kelce, the chances of you winning, first of all, you should be honest with yourself. I don't give a fuck if you are a fighter. The chances of you winning against Jason Kelce is pretty goddamn slim.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see him turn around and just get nose to nose with that guy. Be like, fucking hit me then.
Yeah.
Like, do it. Do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. And then, you know, either the guy backs off or he hits him, and then it's self-defense, and Jason Kelce murders him.
We have way too many people today that have never been punched in the face, and it could not be more clear.
Right.
That they've never... I don't care if it's a fight or you just said something and you got checked for it, but they've never gotten a reality check. You've never been punched in the face, and you think you can just go off and say whatever the fuck you want.
Do you think on your 18th birthday that you should be forced to get punched in the gut?
I think
or
at 12. I think earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a take that Miguel has had for a long time, but like a small amount of bullying might be okay. Like not
Yeah.
to the extremes that I
Right,
think
yeah.
it's gotten to in our
Yeah.
day and age, but like I think it humbles people, and it also teaches you to like, hey, you got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
I think there's such a small percentage of people that are alive today. I would absolutely lean towards a smaller percentage that's been both. And I feel like those people are like the more like mature citizens of today's world. Like I've been bullied. I've bullied. I've punched people in the face. I mean, if you think this is how I am now, imagine me fucking 25 years ago. You don't think I've been punched in the face so many times, but I deserved it. But I'm not going today saying like I was a victim, or I'm like, I fucking deserve exactly what I got because I
Right.
did it to other people too. But now I'm not one of those people thinking that I deserve the position to say whatever the fuck I want and not face any consequences for it.
Yeah.
No.
It's kind of like when you are trying to become a police officer and then you get tased, right? Know what it feels like.
Yeah.
Similar situation where you almost need to know what it feels like to know how you're going to react in that situation, to know, to have a full scope, to have a full understanding of the things that can happen.
They should upgrade that and just be like, hey, we have to shoot you in the foot.
Wow.
Kneecap.
Yeah, we got to take one of your kneecaps out.
Either the hand or the foot. You choose.
Jesus.
You're taking a bullet.
And so I was talking with my wife earlier about this, and despite, not only the throwing of the phone, but then also calling him a Frankfurter, I was like, I just don't see how Jason Kelce looks bad in this situation at all. I mean, yes, he chose violence or whatever the phrase is. He sunk to that guy's level in a way, but I just go like, man, he let that guy off easy.
But it's also so hypocritical to think and to take the position of be the bigger person every time. That's so hard to do.
Yeah.
That's so hard to fucking do, to make the right decision every time. At some point, your buttons get pushed and you're like, I got to deck you. Like, I just got to do it.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a classic example, and I think that this is widespread amongst culture today, is, it's a do what I say, not what I do mentality. Like you said, we have adults who are acting like children, but if you take that same adult and be like, hey, what would you do if your child did this? You would be upset. You would counsel them and teach them, hey, this is not how we interact with people. All the classic, normal, golden rule parent stuff. But they do it, and all of a sudden it's, I'm a victim. You came after me. You assaulted me. Whatever it is. And it's like, our world is not going to run very well if we continue that trend.
Yeah. I don't think he should have apologized, Jason Kelce.
Not at all.
And I don't know. Maybe they'll make something out of it.
That's the corporate world for you, baby.
And they'll
you gotta-
get together and have a kumbaya moment.
Because him
I
be-
hope not.
the most normal guy, I would like to think he didn't feel like he needed to apologize if he was just functioning as a normal civilian person. But that's the corporate world. You suck shit up. You got to sack up and be like, I got to do things that I don't want to do.
And I think that what happened with Kelce as well is this was more than just that moment. That was probably a culmination of a bunch of these types of moments where someone took it a little bit too far and then talked about his brother.
And that's my point. That's my point is
Goes, all right.
He's probably
fighting
been
here.
the bigger person
Countless
for
times.
50 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And in
49 out of 50 times.
This is the one that he was like, I'm fucking sick of
Yeah.
this shit. I'm going to do something. And I can't blame him for it.
Yeah.
And this goes against your thing. Him apologizing is optics. It's absolutely 1,000%
Yeah.
optics. It's like your company is making you do this. Your PR team is making you do this because to them, it's the right thing to do for optics.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with it.
I thought too that like in that, I guess if he was like in the apology, would have like referenced like the brotherhood that he has. I mean, like we all know that everything runs deep with his brother Travis, where it's like, dude, he said that about my brother. What would you have done?
Yeah, if anything, if I was him, I would have been like, I'm sorry that I used a term that I said Frankfurter.
Yeah.
That's not a good representation. But other than that, fuck that guy.
What would you have done in that
Also,
situation?
If you're a guy
Yeah.
to play, if that guy was playing victim, if you're that guy, you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what you said.
Yeah.
So to play victim on the other side of it is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know
Can you
exactly
believe
what was
this?
going to happen.
And if we get down to it, he's fucking Taylor Swift, okay? he might be the farthest thing
Yeah,
from a bundle of sticks.
Yeah.
He's with probably the
From
most
an English
popular
cigarette.
woman right now. He has a TV show.
Yeah.
He has a podcast that's like #1 in the country.
Yeah.
It's-
Dating a billionaire.
His Q score is
I don't think he's
Hi.
doing anything wrong in life.
Yeah.
Like that guy is absolutely winning in everything he's
Yeah,
touching.
you're the one running after a guy trying to get a reaction out of him.
And the
to
guy-
then also them get it posted online.
The guy that was talking shit is probably the guy like Venmo requesting his parents because he ran out of money at
Yeah.
fucking Penn State.
True.
He's not going to class. He's gonna fucking work at Chick-fil-A when he graduates. Like, what are you doing, dude?
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm conflating or mixing up two stories. I'm pretty sure that Penn State student's dad, was like, we expect better from our son. I'm pretty sure someone found his parents and interviewed his parents, and they went on record and were like, we don't support our son.
No more money for you, bitch.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, what are you doing? You
Better apply for
dumbass?
financial aid because the money train is done.
Yeah. Let's see. The D-Hop, by the way, got a second touchdown. He's
Did
having
he?
quite a game there.
Is it 24-17?
God damn.
24-17 there. Pouring down rain in Kansas City.
good thing I beat Austin already. Close game.
You beat off Austin?
I beat off Austin.
Yeah, congratulations to you.
There's in our fantasy league, as much fun as I had winning against Mitch when I called it before, it is absolutely crazy that he had Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdowns.
It is not.
It's not one
One.
was to Jamar Chase. Because I was watching.
Crazy.
I won by
Yeah.
5 points. It took 1 touchdown to Jamar Chase. And it's not like he didn't get any targets. He had 7 targets, 6 receptions for 53
Yeah,
yards.
but how do you throw 5
But that's
touchdowns?
a light day.
Yeah.
It is.
If you're passing the ball so much to have 5 touchdowns, that's an incredibly light day for Jamar Chase.
It is, but
crazy.
it's also against the Raiders where, like, Joe Burrow was just having a field day. The fact
Yeah.
that not 1 touchdown went to Jamar Chase was
Like,
insane.
he could have thrown the ball to Jamar Chase literally every single time if he wanted to against the Raiders.
I'll take
Poor-
it. I'll
poor
take
Mitch.
it, but it's fucking hilarious.
How do you feel about Mitchell finally putting it to paper, talking about the rigged commissioner Braxton Tanner here?
That's not new. He's been a part of that before.
Yeah.
I've never seen him that vocal.
He's been a part of it.
He's never started the conversation.
No, I was shocked.
But honestly,
But, what's
calling
the common
for your
denominator
head.
here? Scam of a commission.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Commissioner,
saying it.
everyone.
you know, I took some time and I looked over, the league and
So when me, Jordan, and Peter say it, you're like, "Fuck you guys." Now Mitch
No,
said it,
yeah.
and you're like, "I gotta."
It had
I gotta
to be
do
somebody
some
I
reflection.
respect.
I gotta do some self-reflection
Yeah.
here.
No, I think I thought about it for about 2 seconds, and that was it.
It stung a little bit, didn't it?
It didn't at all. It didn't at all.
I think I'm on my way to a 3rd ship.
Oh, how much
I
you want to bet you don't win?
I can't be beat. I've called 2 weeks in a row. I was gonna take the undefeated guy.
Okay, you can't be. You've lost several times.
I'm saying like ultimately what
Sure.
the goal, the ultimate
The
goal.
the eye on the prize. Yeah, sure.
Well, just make sure you don't take that number 1 spot because the number 1 seed has never won our league.
Really?
I'm the only giant killer. That's the only reason they
But
won.
when you become the giant,
Also, how dumb would it be for me to bet you? You're the commissioner, and we all know you're rigged. So I'm gonna bet you to
you got to
win
test the
shit.
waters every once in a while, Miguel.
I might as well just hand you the 20.
Oh man, I am locked up right now with Pigskin Posse.
Uh-oh.
It is right now supposed to end 122.92 for me and 123.06 for Jara. We're looking at a 1/10 of a point right now. I need Kareem Hunt to do something here.
Well, they're running because they're milking the clock.
And
Who
then
does she have?
She is done, I think. No, hold on. Who's she got? Who's playing? Who does she have? I'm so confused. Who does she have? Final. Oh, no, she was done. She was projected to get 135. So I have Kansas City's defense, and I've got Kareem Hunt right now, and
they're milking the clock. So
How
and
much
they're
are you
milking
down
the
by?
clock. I'm down by point. I'm down by 2 points right now.
they're gonna run the
They're
ball
gonna
to
run
milk
it.
the clock.
Right? So you'd expect them to run the ball a little bit for Kareem Hunt. All right. I'm feeling a little bit better.
Until they put in Carson Steele and you're fucked.
Yeah, that's true. Who do we got here?
You
Is that
need
Hunt?
a big gain right here
Yeah.
because it's about to
Okay.
be 2-minute warning.
My goodness. Come on, give me one because I've had, I would have beat you last week if I didn't last second change out
that's
guy.
a loss.
He's losing yards now? Come on with it.
Loss.
We've got 2.5 minutes to go in this game. That's not good. Not good. And now Patrick Mahomes going down again.
And Jarrett was technically happy because she needed a Mitch loss
Yeah.
to move her up. So she needs to win this
gosh.
for her to be second. Or no, you're going to be second.
Yeah.
For her to be third.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Come on with it.
I'm just going to let people fight for second and third. What a life,
No,
right?
you're going to be second.
I'm first. I'm going to pass Jordan.
You are?
Yeah.
Nice.
I have more points.
Well, let's see. I don't know. Within the NFL, I don't know a person who is going to be fighting is Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen, the coach of the Saints. He gone. Now has the Saints have one of the least desirable NFL head coaching jobs out there. This past weekend too, where Michael Thomas was going after Derek Carr and all this other stuff.
Michael Thomas is such a fucking loser.
You think so?
I was going to say he still plays.
No, he doesn't. But he was like tweeting about Derek Carr and
I'm not-
basically saying that he got.
I'm not sitting here saying that Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I don't think Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I also don't disagree with the fact that he puts his wide receivers in bad positions. That's exactly what happened to Olave on Sunday.
Yeah,
But-
Olave got.
What is Michael Thomas doing? Dude, you are the Ben Simmons of the fucking NFL. You have sat out 5 seasons because of a toe injury.
That's true. Yeah.
And then you're over here talking shit about Derek Carr. Like, I get it. The dude is a nice guy off the field. He's not the greatest. I wouldn't want him as a quarterback
But
for
he
my
is
team.
tough.
He's a tough guy. He's a nice guy. He's a tough guy. But Michael Thomas talking shit from his couch, get the fuck out of here. You're
Yeah.
Ben Simmons, dude.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Agreed.
But surprised that Dennis Allen loses his job, or no?
No, because the coaches are always a scapegoat
It-
before the player.
It's a little bit surprising to me to do it in season, given like what are you gonna do? Do you think this is going to like make your team so much better or whatever? Like Dennis
It's not
Allen,
going to change anything.
right? And the thing is, Dennis Allen's been with the Saints for a long time coordinator there with Sean Payton, and then you get rid of him, and I don't know. I just don't really see the benefit to do that. Get the sack. Sorry, we're also watching this.
I mean,
game here.
I get it because the season's dead. I don't think the Saints are going to bounce back from a 2-7. And normally I wouldn't understand the move of firing your head coach, but You're looking at the league right now with a handful of OCs and DCs that are fucking money to have. Like, really good to have that you could fight over.
Right.
And-
But you're
and-
not going to do that now. Like, that's the thing.
You're not
like,
going to do that now, but you can start the... You can put your hat in the ring. You can throw your hat in the ring now.
Put a bug in their ear.
Yeah. Start planting the seed. Like, hey, we're going to be an open position. We can start... They're basically starting the rebuilding right now. I kind of get it.
I just like the Saints are kind of like one of the, even when 5 or 6 more head coaches get fired, I'm not seeing the Saints being like this place where I want to send someone.
Yeah.
Or where I would want to go. Like Ben Johnson, for instance. It's like, oh yeah, like I keep coming back to the Lions because I want to make sure where I end up is like the best fit for me, and he's weighing all of it. Saints aren't going to be like, oh yeah, that's the spot.
I get it. That's an easy take for us to have. But when you have an opportunity to be a head coach, I don't think they look at it like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy for us to say, like, why would you go to New Orleans? Why would you go to the Saints and take over that fucking dumpster fire? But you don't think, like, Dan Campbell had the same mindset going to Detroit, a fucking losing franchise? Hey, I have the opportunity to turn things around. And sometimes that's attractive enough for you to take a chance.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think also because the NFL has evolved in the way that it has, that it's kind of a win-now league. You essentially have 2, maybe 3 years to get things turned around, or you're out. I think that if you're being offered, excuse me, if you're being offered a head coaching position, you want to go somewhere where you can make significant changes in the right direction quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still other factors that I think would help their decision. Number 1 being able to put a head coach in your resume, and number 2 is the pay.
True.
I think sometimes that's a big enough difference for them to be like, let me give it a shot. And if I fail, what's the worst that could happen? I make more money.
Yeah.
And I can still go back to the position I was doing before.
Hey, the best thing we've talked about, being a failed head coach somewhere. You get paid to leave. And
I would do that.
I don't know what Dennis Allen's buyout is, but like it always feels like the Saints in their salary cap situation is always screwed. I don't know how many draft picks they have and where it'll ultimately be or who owes what. So my initial thought is that this is going to be taken by some sort of first-time head coach or whatever, and who knows? Maybe it'll be good for him. But let's see. So Dennis Allen fired. Then you have Dak Prescott injured, hamstring. You've got CeeDee Lamb has an sprained AC joint in his right shoulder. The Cowboys lose once again.
They suck.
And who knows who is going to be heading up that team at this point.
In multiple ways. Are they going
Yeah.
to? I mean, obviously they just paid Dak, so they can't go a lot of ways. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cooper Rush comes in and, like last year, all of a sudden the Cowboys are kind of good because Cooper Rush is slinging the ball.
Yeah.
And then
he did a very fine job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then even if he does or he doesn't, what do you do with McCarthy? Jerry has been outspoken about, we're not going to make any changes at the head coach position.
And
but
even after they lost this past weekend to the Falcons, right there was saying we've got the right people, even at the head coaching position.
Jerry's fucking senile, dude. He is the only reason that they're not able to get over.
How old is he? He's close to 90, right?
He's close to dead, is what he is.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
So, he's kind of at that position. Pick the ball off. It's a bad time to be watching.
Jerry Jones is the reason you hate your job, like a boss that gets in the way.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, then you say, okay, now we've got 2 of our best players who are out with injury. What would be the point of making the head coaching move, or whatever? So,
not now.
Right? Yeah, you don't do it now.
But the Cowboys also function differently. Like they're not gonna do what the Saints are doing. They have way too much pride, like enough to tank them, enough to drown them. The Cowboys organization is just like too prideful. They're never gonna think like, hey, we're gonna have to rebuild. Like, hey, we're still the Cowboys. We're gonna pull out of this shit.
Well, and you're exactly right, because they feel like paying their quarterback and their number one receiver, that's enough. Like, we can put, Zeke Elliott in the backfield who doesn't show up for meetings, or we can, they're not. They feel like, we paid these two guys. What more do you want?
Well, they're getting some good output. Like, it's kind of worked the last couple of times where they, like Rico Dowdle is now like doing pretty well. He had that crazy circus catch for a touchdown. Before that,
but overall, he's not doing great.
No, he's not doing great.
Fantasy,
but I mean, like,
he's doing great.
Yeah, I know, and I sat him this week, and I should have not done that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's like always have a good offensive line, and then you just kind of leave it up to chance there. But couple of things that I also want to talk about from a NFL standpoint. There's a lot to be said about like what happened in Arizona this past weekend with the Bears. Couple of things. One being that Matt Eberflus leaves Caleb Williams on the field. Caleb Williams gets hurt right at the end of the game. They're down 20. Kind of, some people are like, are you rubbing their nose in it? They've got to stay out onto the field. And then the whole thing that happened with DJ Moore, where he kind of shoulder checks Caleb Williams right after Williams gets hurt. People are saying, get him the hell out because, he's a cancer on the team. I'm curious if you guys had any thoughts at all about that Bears loss this past weekend.
I think that's just
fodder.
An overreaction.
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff like, you're talking about grown men playing an emotional sport. They're allowed to fucking get angry at each other.
And
We don't play a professional sport. We get angry at each other. You imagine playing fucking football. You don't think if you do something wrong that I'm not going to call you out on the sideline? Like, they're going to fucking do that.
Yeah.
And a shoulder check is what we're going to start
right
crying
after he
over.
got hurt, but, I get that. Do you think that also it was a little interesting the Lions had this, like, big old chip on their shoulder after they beat the Packers this past weekend at Lambeau? It had been a very rainy game, and so Jared Goff comes out in his post-game interview, and then it's echoed there by their head coach afterwards, too, where there's just like, everyone says we're a dome team, and here we are at Lambeau Field winning in the rain.
That's a great reflection of their coach.
Of their coach, yeah.
That's absolutely a great reflection of their coach. You're a 7-1, 6-1 team, but you're playing with an underdog mentality. That's a great reflection on Dan Campbell.
Yeah. Everyone says you're a dome team.
That's why they're doing so well. You don't ever want to be complacent.
Yeah.
But that's Dan Campbell for you. Like, that's all him.
And guess what? The Super Bowl's in the Dome this year.
Maybe they should play outside because they apparently are so good at playing out in the rain. So good at playing in the rain.
New Orleans.
New Orleans,
Yeah, New Orleans. Speaking of the Saints, they lost to the Panthers this past week. That was no good.
Great for Bryce Young's trade stock,
I
trade value.
suppose he finally
They're
got to
shopping
do that.
him around, and
He's
then
on
he
the
fucking
uptick.
wins.
I think it was his first victory formation in
His career.
his NFL
Good for
career.
him. Good for him.
Anything else in the NFL that kind of stuck out to you?
No. Just get fucking
Honestly,
college over with.
this definitely was one of the lesser headline weeks, in my opinion.
In both, in college and NFL.
I was glad that the Bills-Dolphins fit the bill. Fit the,
Yeah,
You know
Josh
what I'm
Allen is still their daddy.
Yeah, 30-27. You had a Tyler Bass 63-yarder toward right at the end of the game to seal it for them. So.
61. Don't spread false
My
information.
bad. My bad.
I know that Lamar is in the lead for MVP, but Josh Allen has got to be right behind him.
Do you have an MVP bet? I put a few weeks ago an MVP bet on Josh Allen. And I know that you would never.
Wait, he's the favorite.
Yeah.
I
No,
just
but
wouldn't
Lamar is
No,
now.
he's not the favorite.
But until Lamar was, it's always been Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So I just didn't see it wasn't worth the return for me. If I am picking someone that I feel like deserves the MVP, which is very unlikely because of his position, I'd say Saquon. I think Saquon deserves to get the running back MVP again.
And that is something we should probably mention.
Is that
one of the
reverse-
craziest
reverse
plays I've
hurdle?
ever seen?
Yeah, insane.
The 180 hurdle
This whole thing with how
after a spin move.
remember like how he joined the Eagles and everyone was like, well, he was kind of in the trajectory of McCaffrey where like you've gone through injuries, you've sat out a season, and how well could you really do? And then we said in the beginning of the season, this guy now is running behind the best O-line he's ever had in his fucking career with a good quarterback and a good receiving core. You don't think he's going to fucking make shit happen? Saquon is just right. Like, Derrick Henry's putting up insane fucking numbers.
Yeah.
But Saquon's right behind him. And he's doing all this shit that no one can stop talking about. Who fucking hurdles reverse?
Yeah, I've never.
What are you, fucking nuts?
That's
I
the
did one time.
It's the only time. No, you didn't.
Yeah,
On
you're
purpose.
right.
I was
You're
gonna say
right.
by accident.
Yeah, maybe when I'm taking a shit, I hurdle reverse.
But yeah,
when
it's
I'm a
like one of the
300-pound
only
guy
times
looking
we'll
to
see
kill
something
me.
like that. So it was insane, absolutely insane.
Derrick Henry, though, that now that you mention it, already at 1,000 yards for the season.
And week 9.
Oh wow, 1,000. Yeah, probably even close to 1,100 at this point.
It's like 1050 something.
This whole conversation about running backs in the last 2 or 3 seasons, Henry and Barkley are saving them. Because there's been this thing like, why pay running backs?
And McCaffrey, but he's hurt.
But also, I feel like they're kind of proving the point. Because their whole point was, why pay for running backs if there's only 2 or 3 in the league who are going to be great?
But the whole point of like the throwing running backs under the bus and like they don't deserve this money is just pay for a young guy, and we're seeing those young guys being like Chase Brown from Cincinnati,
Bucky.
or Bucky, or any one of those guys. They're not putting up the same numbers. If we're talking a win now mentality, the numbers that Barkley and Henry are putting up is fucking insane. None of these other guys are even close.
Yeah, and you can argue, at least for the Ravens, like, hey, he's putting us in a position to win a Super Bowl this year. Not so much currently with the Eagles, but yeah, I agree with you because I'm pro running back. I think that they're an essential part of the game. I think if you can have a good running back behind a good line, that will win you games more often than not. But I'm just to play it devil's advocate. I can see the other side of it.
With the win now mentality, the amount of attention that they take from other teams is why Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman and all these guys are being open. You don't have that same fear with like a Chase Brown or Bucky because you're still focused on the Mike Evans of the world, and the Chris Godwin of the world.
The Jamar Chase.
With now you're worried about Lamar and Derrick Henry. That's impossible to fucking guard them.
Yeah, I understand both strategy, and we're leaving out Jonathan Taylor to a degree. I wouldn't say he's like exactly up there, but I mean he's like
Yeah, but
one of
Jonathan
those
Taylor
formula
isn't
guys.
dealing with this. Like Jonathan Taylor is dealing with more stuff than Henry and Barkley because they have.
He's not putting his team in a position to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and you have Hurts and you have Lamar. He is dealing with a bench Anthony Richardson and
Joe Flacco,
who's still making mistakes. It's not the same, and I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
because I don't want him to fall and go downhill from like being hurt, and then all of a sudden, the Colts are just shitting the bed. The Colts are in the position to still make the playoffs because they have the best fucking defense in the league. I mean, that defense is scary.
Yeah. And I know that, and I understand both strategies when it comes to a running back. I understand the strategy to be like, we've got to pay the Derrick Henrys and the Saquons of the world. I also understand the young. You guys know this, I would probably tend to lean more towards the young guy, reset the clock unless,
if it was up to you, you'd get a new team every year.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantasy football, right? And I do, and I'm 2-6. So here
How's
we
that
are.
working out?
Yeah, I know. We'll see.
I just think it's not like I think planning for the future is crazy, but does anyone have any idea how hard it is to win a fucking Super Bowl?
Yeah. I thought he was going to say a fantasy football.
Does
anyone? And then, I keep doing it year after year after year.
It's so hard to win a fucking Super Bowl that if you're like, let's focus on the young core.
Yeah.
And let's just plan for maybe doing well in 25, doing well in 26. you might want to fucking win one now because the Cowboys have been trying this since '94.
Yeah.
And it's been 20 years. It's not that
30.
easy to fucking do.
30 now.
30.
Yeah, good math.
Oh, yeah, there's 14 in there.
Oh yeah,
94,
14,
04,
yeah.
40,
Yeah,
carry the one.
yeah, there we
carry,
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30.
And the final point about the running back, and I don't know how many we probably have so many Giants fans that listen to us in the New York.
So many.
But I'm curious, like, it's not as if Saquon was going to be doing what he's doing to the degree that he's doing it in Philadelphia.
No, but that's exactly why the NFL, it matters so much where you end up in your situation and what's around you. It's the same way that really good Heisman winning quarterbacks are put in a position where they can't succeed. If you the one exception with the NFL is it's the only pro sports franchise where your situation and your environment matters more than anywhere else.
So much, yeah.
Because you could be the Troy Smith of Ohio State that ran through all of college football, and then you go to a losing fucking team and nothing happens.
And that list is endless. Matt Leinart, RG3. I mean, you could go top to bottom every league every year and name 2-3 guys who were like sure thing gonna be successful, but because they went to a team,
Trevor Lawrence with the Jags, he
Like,
keeps on like.
what do you think would happen if, like, look at, I mean, this isn't a good example, but like Joe Mixon with the Bengals is still Joe Mixon with the Texans, right? Look at what would happen if Jonathan Taylor is in a Chiefs backfield. What would happen if Jonathan Taylor is in the Lions backfield?
it.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor would fucking kill it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
1000%.
watching it right now. Baker Mayfield is a great example of this.
Yeah.
He went from a
Cleveland,
few really bad organizations. I guess the Rams weren't bad, but he was there for a cup of coffee.
He was with the Panthers.
Bad organization.
Yeah, terrible.
And then all of a sudden you put him in a position where he's with the Bucks, who are a pretty good organization, good coaching, good defense,
An owner that cares and has a head on his shoulders.
and wants to win.
Yeah.
And here we are, tied up, OT, against the number one team in the league and playing pretty well.
Like, it's easy to look at some players right now and be like, this guy is failing me for all sorts of different reasons. If ETN was in the winning team's backfield, people would not look at ETN the way they look at him now.
Certainly. Yeah.
It's just like Hopkins. Look at DeAndre Hopkins with 30 fantasy points tonight. People thought, DeAndre Hopkins is washed. He's done. And then he goes to Kansas City where he has Mahomes throwing to him and he has Kelce's attention and everyone else and Kareem Hunt.
And coordinators that know how to put them in the situation, right? Who know how to draw up that play. And that's the genius of like Andy Reid and other coaches who are similar, that it's like you're not going to adjust into my system. I'm going to figure out what I know works best for you, and then we're going to create winning football based off of your skill set.
If you're commending like a coaching staff and a coach, I think the person that deserves all the fucking flowers right now is Kevin O'Connell. What he's doing with Minnesota, like, that's exactly where he takes players and he goes, we're going to make sure that you fit into our system and that you succeed in our fucking system.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I mean, like, he also has Adam Jones and Justin Jefferson.
Aaron Jones.
Who did I say?
Adam.
Oh, my bad.
Pac-Man is out of the league.
That's right. Aaron Jones. My apologies. Close enough that you.
R.I.P.
Right.
Pac-Man.
Yeah. He ain't dead. He's just kind of an asshole. But then you were talking about running backs. It sounds like Christian McCaffrey might be close to back. Who knows?
Supposedly he's playing next week, and he's projected to have like 20 fantasy points. So,
yeah, because they're gonna fucking ride
Is that
him like
a
a
trap?
racehorse again.
Is that a trap? Do you put money on it if he's at like?
it's a trap.
Yeah.
Even your own wife agrees now.
What did she say? Yeah, agreed. This league is sorry.
Now
Jared.
everybody is down.
Let's see. We will get to some NFL bets of the week. We kind of talked about college a little bit. We're going to come back to college now, which is talking about the number one, now unanimously number one, Oregon Ducks. Miguel did not bring any bad juju with his kind of gaslighting, reverse psychology.
In your opinion, it was reverse psychology. Yeah. I said exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah. And you said it with such enthusiasm that you believed it.
Yeah. Michigan wasn't going to win. Yeah. Here's the thing I will say about that game is and I'm not looking for any credit. I can understand a football game and moves and strategy when it comes to just football as much as I hate Oregon. There was a part of me that was like, fuck you for running up the score. Fuck you for scoring at the very end. But
yeah,
I also understand that with the NCAA committee and how you're judged at the end when it comes to rankings, you want to pull away.
Yeah.
You want to have the gap because they'll say, oh, you beat Michigan in the big house by this much.
Yeah. No one's going to remember when it happened or whatever. Yeah.
But I also realized something this weekend. Oregon, this is not the first time I've seen Oregon be undefeated or be in the top spot for the playoffs, or they're going to be there. They're going to be there at the end. But there is nothing sweeter to me. It's better almost. And this is maybe me convincing myself to feel better. It's sweeter to have them do well and watch them fall short in the national championship than to have them do average in the season. Because I'm still fully convinced that will happen. Watching him fall short in the championship is so much more fun than to watch him be average.
I will be honest, though, Miguel. I've realized this season more so than others that we've talked about Oregon and things, college football in general. For some reason this season, there's been a little bit of clarity that I feel like I've gained to where you are just in the business of moving the goal line.
Yeah, the goalposts. Yeah.
And at first it was, oh, you'll never beat Ohio State. You'll never beat Michigan. And then we beat Ohio State. Oh, well, you won't beat Michigan. Then we beat Michigan. Oh, I'm going to be so satisfied when you guys have a good season and then lose the national championship. It's it's starting to lose its zest.
But that is coming from what your expectations are. Because ultimately, and this could not be more clear, which I also don't know why you need it, based on your questions in the last few episodes, you want me to say, Oregon's good. You want me to, change my stance.
I just want you to admit fact.
That could not be more clear that you want me to change my stance. That, to me, would lose more respect in the stance that I've taken against Oregon for over a decade. Is you want me to go, yeah, Oregon's good. I don't have a problem admitting I'm wrong. I don't have a problem, which I have said, what I expected out of Illinois, Michigan, and these teams didn't happen. But you view it as you're constantly going to find reasons to why you hate Oregon. Yeah, no fucking shit, Sherlock. What are you looking for? You're looking for me to go, you know what? I like them now. They're better than I expected. That's what you're looking for.
But that's the facts.
That I like them now?
No, the fact is they are better than all that you've said and predicted. You have been wrong.
Which I have admitted, have I not?
You have admitted, yeah.
I don't.
But you refuse. But here's the thing: you refuse to hear that because all you're hearing is me coming up with another way to how they're gonna disappoint me because that's what I expect and / that's what I want.
Yeah,
that's the whole idea behind being against something. Do you not understand that?
But I'm against a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams I don't like, and I can get to a point where I'm like, hey, I don't like this team, but they're very, very good. They have a real chance to.
Have I not said?
Maybe I've been clouded by my.
You are super
conception.
goddamn clouded. I said in the beginning of the season, Oregon will not beat Illinois. Oregon will not beat Michigan in the Big House. Through the season, as an undefeated #1 team, I'm like, I'm fucking wrong. Illinois not only got smacked, Michigan got smacked at home.
Yeah.
I was wrong about Oregon. That doesn't mean all of a sudden I go, man, I hope these guys win the fucking Natty.
I'm not expecting
nuts?
that. I think that's unrealistic.
Chop off my own dick before I say that.
Yeah.
Or feel that way.
I think that where there were some like miscalculations on both sides, I think that there was concern on Braxton and my side, especially earlier on in the season when we saw what we saw against Idaho and Boise State. Boise State ranked. Boise State's been good. They have a Heisman Trophy contending running back. Idaho had their, Lake Oswego Laker.
They had their thing.
They had their thing. They had their chip on their shoulder, whatever. Then I think that your biggest miscalculation was that Michigan just is nowhere close to what Michigan has been. And
I never even said that. That I could get knocked for. I could easily sit here and claim my bias and say Michigan wasn't as good as I expected them to be by the time they played Oregon. No, they're still Michigan. They were still at home in one of the toughest places to play, and Oregon fucking rocked them.
Yeah.
I am not making excuses for that. I also said they haven't played anyone. They beat Ohio State. They beat Illinois that was ranked. They beat Michigan. I'm not changing my stance on that. This is not any different than Oregon fucking up throughout the season, and I go, well, how do you feel about your shitty-ass Ducks? And and then you find the positives because you're a fan. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Oregon.
I think that
I'm gonna come up with ways to be like, yeah, these fucks are gonna disappoint
Well,
me.
the
and I
same
can't
way
wait.
you torment me when they're not good, I'm going to keep asking these questions
that's
when
fine.
they're
I think the one thing that actually in yes, I 1,000% agree with you on all of this. But I think the one thing that I am surprised that Miguel is not coming back on us for was how reluctant we were to support our team at the beginning of the year against the Ohio States and the Michigans. Unwavering, unabashed confidence about the gauntlet that we thought it would be and probably is when it comes to, the Big Ten, running through the Big Ten. And we were like, I don't know what it's going to be like for Oregon to go through the Big Ten when you've had the Ohio States, Penn States, Michigans, and everyone else who have done it, and yet they have. You haven't buried us for that fact that we've wavered a little bit.
Because I don't need to, because the only thing you guys are doing is you're proving my point. The same concern you had at the beginning of the season is the same thing I keep pointing out. You weren't sure. You weren't sure that they were going to smack Michigan in the Big House, but that's like the unwavering faith you have with your team is like, man, I hope this. You know what? I know this will happen
but
whatever.
Here's the thing. I personally, I won't speak for you, Peter, but I have been trained being friends with this group that being an unwavering fan only creates me being very angry. Whether we win or lose.
The defense mechanism is what it
So
is.
I've created a defense mechanism to be like, oh, maybe not.
Sure.
I think this is ultimately a difference in being a fan. We're all different as fans, and that is clear as day. Because how I'm receiving the last few Oregon conversations is there's this need for me to feel a certain way about Oregon. I don't like one of the reasons I like the team that I like is because people hate them, and I love every part of it. And I actually do not want anyone to come on board. I don't want it. You'll ruin it for me. I almost want to be like, hey, you guys want to watch a Duke game? No, fuck Duke. Yeah, I get it. Awesome. Yeah, it makes me want to watch it more.
Like Duke,
I want to stick it to you. I don't have this need for like an approval for like, please feel this way about my team. I don't want it.
And I get what you're saying. I want to just clarify. I don't need you to like Oregon. I think my need is I want you to admit that you're wrong. Because the fact of the matter is, Miguel, you're an incredibly smart individual when it comes to sports. More often than not, when it comes to our predictions, you are correct and I'm not.
And when it comes to an Oregon
And when it
bet,
comes to Oregon, more often than not, you're right and
But
I'm wrong.
saying I have.
And you have.
I have.
Yes.
Everything I expected to happen this season has not happened
Yes.
when it comes to Oregon.
I'm just saying to your point. I agree with you. You definitely have. But I think that's been my motivation in these conversations.
And there's only one thing.
I don't want you to be a Duck fan.
No.
That's the last. That's the last thing I want.
Could you imagine?
There's only one thing I'm holding on to is right now, because we're not in the Pac-12, the Oregon slip-up is less likely because they have pretty, below-average teams left. Maryland, Wisconsin, Washington, right? I don't think they're going to lose to any of them. But the only thing I'm holding on to, they're going to fall short of the national championship because they've shown me that they've done that. So now the slips are no longer in my favor. Now I'm holding on to, you're going to fall short. And that's what I'm hoping for. And it's going to be sweet.
The man is a bit of a master manipulator.
He is.
He is.
He is.
The
I wouldn't date him.
Shouldn't.
Miguel, the master manipulator. Because, when you come to the Oregon-Ohio State game, one of the reasons why I was so reluctant to bet against you was, again, the context of knowing how much money you lost the last time. I did not. You were seeing red when it came to that betting on that. It seemed like I'm going to recoup my money in a toss-up type of thing. I wasn't. It
I didn't
made
want to be
me
a part of
step
that.
away from it because I was like, I'm not putting $250 on this. It would have been great. Would have been great.
It would have been great.
Hindsight,
Yeah.
you know?
But you also
Take more money from you.
you also take 5 steps to think about bets more than I do. Sometimes I just bet because
emotion.
I need my I need it in my blood. I need it in my veins. Just make the game more fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we all agree Oregon's very good.
Yeah, Miguel said it himself.
Yep.
Despite the fact that Tez Johnson, shoulder injury in that game, the Oregon's number one receiver has over 600 yards, eight touchdowns, has been such a stalwart in their offense.
Also, I will say this, and this is not I don't ever want to be one of those people that take credit away from a win, because if you're making mistakes as the opposite team, that shit's on you, right? It's not because you made mistakes the other team won. Oregon won that game clearly, but that game would have been more competitive had Moore not been the coach of Michigan. If that shit was Jim Harbaugh, because the number of boneheaded
they wouldn't
mistakes,
be 5-3 either, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, lining on that big fourth down, lining up in front of the center on the punt. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
How do you not know shit like that? There were 3 or 4 plays where you are not on top of this. It's the same way that Ryan Day didn't manage a time properly against Oregon. It's come on, bro. If you're playing the number one team, it's the same way if you're an NFL team, you're playing the Chiefs. You have to be on your fucking game. You can't make a lot of mistakes, if any. You really have to be flawless to have a chance to win this.
And to that point, I think obviously Oregon has proven to be a very good team this year, but I think that Dan Lanning's value has skyrocketed this year.
Until he loses the Natty.
Even if.
Sure. I think, I agree that his value, and it has continued to be amazing. Dylan Gabriel, every single week, continues to be he's just dropping dimes every single week, which is incredible. He seems to be
he's a really pure passer.
one of the best finesse pure pass. He's not slinging it 70 miles an hour and threading.
No.
He can do that. But one of the things
it's silky.
it is. It's every week you kind of just say this guy is just gonna throw to a spot and he's gonna catch a guy on the run and usually in stride or whatever. Every quarterback has misfires or whatever. But it seems every week I just go dime. That was just perfect on the run. Usually
Couldn't
down
have
the
handed
side
it to him better.
Exactly, and it's been.
And I
But without Tez Johnson, again, let me close loop on that. Shoulder injury, likely out for multiple weeks. Not going to have season-ending surgery, But, when he has 600-plus yards, almost 700 yards, 8 touchdowns, that is a guy that is going to be sorely missed for the next few weeks, could potentially come back in the Big Ten
Championship.
championship.
They showed that clearly the spitting bitch was able to take over and have a great game. So
Holden.
Spittin' bitch would be an incredible last name, though.
Yeah.
I'm not
Hyphen. Spitting hyphen bitch.
I'm not saying this to create any worry, but
Braxton Spittin' bitch.
I understand how high everyone is for Oregon right now, especially the fans, because you're undefeated, you're number one, you have, very decisive games, and you're high on Dylan Gabriel. I mean, this team wasn't. I mean, in my opinion, as far as overall, you were probably just as high, if not more, with Bo Nix and how that team was going last year.
It was great.
They only ran.
They could very well lose this
They
week.
only ran into two games that they couldn't win, and it was against Washington.
Yeah.
And it was against a Michael Penix Jr., Rome Odunze, and Kalen DeBoer led team.
True.
The test so far with a stacked team like that has been Ohio State, and they took care of that. Wasn't decisive, but they won. The reason I'm so confident that they're going to fall short is because they're going to run into a team like that. I think they're going to run into a Georgia, a Texas, and a Ohio State after a loss. Those are the three.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Dylan Gabriel is better than Bo Nix. I still don't.
I don't think he's better. I think he's just as good.
Yeah, if anything, they're even.
But here's the thing, because I get what you're saying. I think the big difference that I would take between this year's team and last year's team is depth. We have a depth at receiver, to kind of get back to your question or comment. We have depth at almost every position that I don't think Oregon has ever had. Like losing Tez Johnson, we're going to be just fine. I think the only factor of the game that there's a little bit of worry is the return game.
How many of these receivers were not on the team last year?
All of them. Just about.
So none of these guys played behind Troy Franklin and two other guys who left.
Not really.
I don't recall the exact depth.
Because I don't know if you're focusing on one person, but this is essentially the same team with more experience, because a lot of these guys, Ferguson's back, Herbert's back. Franklin was the number one receiver for Bo Nix last year. I think Holden or someone was right behind him. This is the same team.
No, this has been one of the highest turnovers from year to year for an Oregon team in a long time.
Except in the DBs. Well, no, even
No,
their DBs. Their DBs
Almost
are
all
old.
of them.
They're old, but they're all
New.
They're all new.
Yes. No, this has been one of the highest turnovers. The people you named, absolutely, are returning.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan James was on the team last year. Tez Johnson was there last year.
But outside of that, there might be one other guy.
Holden was on the team, but he
didn't really
only
play.
400 yards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but being on the team last year, where your team was so good that you didn't get any minutes because Franklin was getting all the touches, you basically had a Travis Kelce on your team, that experience creates basically the same team. You have a fairly even Bo Nix and Dylan Gabriel. You have not run into that team last year yet. You have not run into that team. I feel like they will.
And I think the biggest difference, in my opinion, is defense. Oregon has a stout defense that can stand up to any Big 12 matchup. We'll see if they can stand up against any SEC matchup, but I think this is the year that they have the best chance to do so.
All their DBs are juniors and seniors, so there's not a steep learning curve. A lot of these guys are transfers, and so
the D-line.
The
front seven.
For the rest of the year, the Ducks are playing essentially 500 teams. You've got Maryland, Wisconsin, and Washington. Maryland 4-4, the other two 5-4. So 2 games over 500 collectively between them.
They're going to be judged when it comes to the rankings. They're going to be judged with essentially 2 ranked wins and a win with 3 ranked wins because Boise State just now moved up. So Boise State,
Correct,
Illinois, and Ohio State. Michigan was ranked, not ranked, but it doesn't matter. They beat them at home. The one thing that any anti-Oregon is hoping for is you don't win a natty because they never do. The Rose Bowl is the best you can do, and it's the best you've done. But with them winning the national championship, now you can if they do win the whole thing, you anti-Oregon guys can no longer hold that over your head. And it only takes one. It only takes one national championship because that's how hard it is to win one. Some schools will go through this entire lifetime without winning one. So that you can no longer hold over your head. But if they don't win, man, that's fucking sweet to keep going with that.
So right now, Oregon has those 3 teams in Maryland, Wisconsin, Washington. Do you think that Oregon goes undefeated in the regular season?
Yeah. Any of those teams aren't going to win.
Right. Okay, so then we've got some very interesting consequential games coming up. Assuming that Ohio State right now, in their final games, will have Purdue and Northwestern Michigan, and I skipped one, but this is the Indiana University Ohio State game. Right now, Indiana undefeated. Ohio State with the 1 loss to Oregon. If whoever wins that game, assuming, will go to the Big Ten championship against Oregon. So you could potentially get an Oregon-Ohio State rematch, or you get 2 undefeated teams, assuming that Indiana clears their slate here. Indiana's got the rest of the year. One moment, please. Indiana has Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue, right? Like, that is the one that they circle.
The only
there.
thing that's going to suck, because I guarantee I will hear it, is if Oregon doesn't do what Oregon fans expect them to do, it's because Tez Johnson got hurt. That's gonna suck to hear, because I know I'll hear it. It's fucking Oregon fans.
I mean, you're not going to hear it from me, that's for sure. I don't think a receiver, again, with the depth that they have,
number 1 receiver, people will bring that shit up.
Yeah, but I mean, like, assuming so, like right now, it sounds as if all things are going, he recovers well, he would be back for that Big Ten championship game. So then you will all of a sudden get to, say it's Oregon-Ohio State again. Oregon loses that game to Ohio State. Ohio State would then get the tiebreaker. They would get the first round bye. Oregon finds themselves in 5 through 12, which would be an interesting spot to be in, considering that you beat them during the regular season.
Yeah, and honestly, I think a lot of people are putting Ohio State in that position. I don't think this Indiana game for them is going to be so easy.
No, not at all. I mean, like, you're talking about an undefeated team in Indiana. And, throughout the year, they haven't had, Ohio State got Penn State. They got Oregon. Indiana has gotten Charlotte and UCLA and Western Illinois. They beat Nebraska, but Nebraska can't. I mean, they beat them 56-7. So Indiana 8-0. Is that more impressive than Ohio State 7-1?
The shitty position that Ohio State is in, though, because I will side with them on this, is if they lose to Indiana, the conversation is going to be Ohio State was never as good as people thought they were. But if they beat Indiana, they're like, whatever, Indiana never played anyone.
Right.
Ohio State got lucky or whatever. It's like the same way they didn't really get any credit for beating Penn State away. It's just, but they're hated. That's part of being a powerhouse. They're hated. I get it.
It was a feather in the cap for good old Ryan Day to get that win, but that's going to be such a big game, that Ohio State-Indiana game. I think that all Oregon fan would be rooting for Indiana at that point, but we shall see what ultimately the spread is going to be in that game. As I mentioned, the Ducks, they've got Maryland this week, 4-4. What is the line on that game? I imagine it's not very
25.5.
Yeah, probably. I've got so many tabs open here. Let's take a look. We've got 25. Yeah, is the line right now in favor of Oregon. And I think that, I would like to talk about the game that we're going to be going to coming up this weekend. Braxton and I traveling across the country to go see Virginia Tech versus Clemson for our friend Matt Barker's bachelor party. So that's going to be very exciting. Caleb is also going to be there, and that's going to be such a very.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to rain, but you know what? Whatever. We'll
Is
deal with
Clemson
it.
ranked?
Clemson is ranked, but they just lost, so it's not like as fun. But I mean,
Well, Virginia Tech can definitely play spoiler because
it is, and it's a touchdown game. I
Yes.
know that it's at home, so you give it a little bit more, but yeah, it's a touchdown game. Virginia Tech, Enter Sandman night game, right? Is it a night game?
3:30.
It'll be dark.
It's
But-
going to be a hoot.
It's gonna be a
That's a great place to watch a game.
hoot, indeed. So,
Absolutely. I'm
top
very,
5.
very excited. I think regardless of the gameplay, obviously I want Tech to win. I would love to see an upset live. That would be sick. But I
rush
think,
the field
Oh,
because
sure.
you absolutely would rush the field.
yeah, we'd run down 300 levels to get to the
Yeah.
to the field. Anyways, I think the environment of that game and the whole aura that it's going to bring is going to be more than enough for me to love every second of it.
Yeah, the one thing, though, I hope you're in on this with me. So we're in the club level. I've been told there's, glass, that we're going to be, enclosed.
Uh-huh.
I would love to not be for at least Enter Sandman.
Oh, we won't be.
We have to be outside
Yep.
in standing room
Break the
only.
glass.
Yeah.
Something like that. I
Yep.
need that feeling.
Yep.
Don't just let
Way
me
ahead
watch
you.
it.
Way ahead of you.
Yeah. So we're going to make sure that we're outside. I don't care if it's raining. I'm going to wear some rain pants
So
or whatever.
You just approach some college kids like, you want to be in a box? Because we'll trade with you.
Yeah. So I don't even care. Yeah. I don't know what the situation is like up
We
in
got
there.
it covered.
Yeah. Good. Any other
And
college
if we need you
football
to,
games we care about?
push a few elbows around
Yeah.
to get us there, I know you can do that for us, Pete.
I'll do that. I'm good at finding the spots.
Yep.
The first college football rankings are going to be out, but again, it almost feels like
Is that
doesn't.
tomorrow?
It is, yeah, Election Day, which is crazy. But we have a couple of big ranked games. Georgia, Ole Miss is going to be a good game. Then obviously we've got Clemson and Tech, hopefully. Then we've got good old Colorado, Texas Tech. Why not? And then Alabama, LSU. That's going to be a night game. We'll be able to maybe watch that a little bit. That's going to be, I guess, later. Yeah, that'll be the night game. So we'll kind of see that as it kind of comes around. So
Because right now they're looking for a way to keep Alabama in the top 12.
yeah.
They are looking for every possible reason to keep them in there.
Yeah, so good SEC slate, and then we've got our game, and then hopefully Oregon takes care of business.
Oh, no, let's hope. Maryland. Oh, no.
Oh no, the Terps. Let's see, Thursday night football, Ravens Bengals should be a fun game.
Interesting. Yep.
Yeah. Also, now that we have our week that has concluded, I am curious if we're looking at buyouts and everything like that. During the week, the cash out gets suspended. For those of you who listened to us this past week, know that we have a $5,000 payout that is at least in plus money at the moment. Let's see. We've got... It has jumped, boys.
Over 2?
It's over $200 now.
Take it.
We placed a
Gotta pay for
$60 bet on the division winners to pay out $5,259. The current payout is $255.40.
Oh,
We're rich. Take it.
So
wow.
again, the Bills, Lions, Ravens, 49ers, Chiefs, Eagles, Texans, and Falcons. I'll tell you what, with Christian McCaffrey coming back, I feel a little bit better because the Falcons have been kind of sticking around a little bit there in the NFC West, the Cardinals have been sticking around in the NFC West. And whatever's happening there with the AFC North, blah, blah, blah. So,
Blah, blah, blah.
but, oh, yeah, and I love what's happening with Jaden Daniels. Kind of need the to chill out there here for
So
a
the
second at
Eagles
7-2.
can win.
So
Well, they play the Eagles in the next 2 weeks.
So that should be great. So, any other bets to be had? Are you trying to take like Clemson and points this week to spoil our fun?
No, I wouldn't do that for the
Yeah.
bachelor party.
Yeah.
I think before we place any bets, we got to clear some.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
then let's place bets
Pete-
next week.
I owe a
Get
lot
out
of
your
money.
pocketbook.
Let's right. It's not that our ledger can't fit more. Obviously, it can.
Yeah.
But let's clear some bets. Let's place more next week.
Deal.
Let's have you take. You've been on a losing streak.
I have.
Maybe in
Anytime.
DraftKings you've been winning, but with us you are on a losing streak.
Yeah,
So
it's not been
cool
good.
off. Go to Virginia, and then we'll resume.
We'll
betting
come
next
back.
week.
Yeah, if anyone took Braxton's advice or any of our thinking, like hammer the Texans on Thursday Night Football, that did not. Hopefully, he did not do that. We certainly did not, despite our advice. But
No, we did not.
so there you be. That's all I've got, boys.
Let's eat.
Clear eyes.
Full heart.
Can't lose.